The Rooikat, meaning caracal in Afrikaans, is an 808-wheeled armored fighting vehicle developed and manufactured in South Africa. It is primarily used for reconnaissance, fire support, and anti-tank roles, known for its high mobility and versatility across difficult terrains. The Rooikat's development and history are closely tied to the unique military needs of South Africa during the 1970s and 1980s, particularly in the context of the Angolan Bush War, its regional security concerns, and the need to operate in complex terrains. Origins and early development. 1976-1983. The development of the Rooikat began during a period of heightened conflict in southern Africa, particularly due to the South African Border War, also known as the Angolan Bush War. South Africa found itself engaged in a prolonged conflict against guerrilla forces and conventional armies, especially in Namibia and Angola. This environment required a highly mobile, hard-hitting platform capable of reconnaissance, deep strike, and quick withdrawal, while also being capable of engaging light to medium armored vehicles. South Africa's initial wheeled AFV, the Eland Armored Car, was based on the French Panhard AML and had served its purpose during the early phases of the conflict. However, the Eland, with its light armor and a 90mm gun, was becoming obsolete. It was unable to effectively combat the increasingly sophisticated armored threats posed by Angolan and Cuban forces, which were often equipped with Soviet T-55 and T-62 tanks. Thus, the South African Defense Force sought to develop a vehicle that could outmaneuver these threats while still being able to inflict significant damage, necessitating a shift to a new indigenous platform. Project concept and prototypes, 1983-1988. By the early 1980s, the SADF began conceptual work on what would become the Rooikat under the codename Project Ratel 90. The objective was to create a wheeled vehicle that could fulfill several roles: reconnaissance, tank destroyer, and fire support. The decision to opt for a wheeled design over a tracked one was influenced by the type of terrain in southern Africa, which included vast stretches of arid and semi-arid regions, as well as dense bush areas. Wheeled vehicles offered better strategic mobility and speed on these terrains compared to tracked counterparts, which were more cumbersome and maintenance-intensive. Initial designs were heavily influenced by the Ratel Infantry Fighting Vehicle, IFV, and the Eland, borrowing aspects of their modularity and armor configurations. The SADF commissioned various engineering firms, including the then Armscor, now Denel Land Systems, to create a prototype that would meet the following specifications: high speed and maneuverability, a main gun capable of engaging armored vehicles and fortified positions, protection against small arms, shrapnel, and mine blasts, a vehicle weight under 30 tons to maintain strategic airlift capability. The early prototypes featured a 76mm gun, similar to the British Scorpion light tank, but this was later upgraded to a 105mm GT7 rifled gun, capable of firing NATO standard rounds. This armament provided the Rooikat with an effective anti-tank capability and high explosive firepower. Testing and refinement, 1988-1990. By 1988, several Rooikat prototypes were tested in various terrains, ranging from the arid Kalahari Desert to mountainous regions and dense bushland. These trials revealed the vehicle's ability to operate efficiently in extreme temperatures, navigate rough terrain, and maintain a high speed of over 120 km/h on road surfaces. The testing period also focused on improving the vehicle's ability to engage in high-speed, hit-and-run tactics, which were essential for the SADF's doctrine of mobility warfare. One key aspect of the Rooikat's success during this phase was its innovative suspension and drivetrain. The Rooikat's 888 configuration provided it with excellent cross-country performance, while its independent suspension allowed for stable firing on the move, a critical feature for a reconnaissance and fire support vehicle. Operational deployment and production, 1990s. The Rooikat officially entered service in 1990, just as the border war ended and South Africa's political and military landscape was undergoing major transformations. Despite this, the Rooikat remained an essential asset for the South African National Defence Force, CNDF, the successor to the SADF, as it restructured its forces for a post-apartheid era. Production continued at a modest pace, with around 250 units built. This was considerably lower than originally planned, due to budget constraints and a shift away from large-scale conventional warfare. However, the Rooikat's sophisticated design ensured its longevity and relevance, and it was integrated into various mechanized and armored formations within the SANDF. Design features and variants. The baseline Rooikat featured a high-velocity 105mm GT7 cannon with advanced fire control systems, allowing for effective day and night operations. Its armor, while not as heavy as a main battle tank, was sloped and reinforced to provide protection against 23mm autocannon fire, heavy machine guns, and landmines. The Rooikat also included a modular design for ease of maintenance and future upgrades. The original Rooikat 105 was complemented by several variants. Rooikat 76, armed with a 76mm gun, this variant was aimed at providing a lighter, more mobile version for rapid deployment. Rooikat ZA-35, an anti-aircraft platform featuring twin 35mm anti-aircraft cannons. Rooikat 120, a prototype variant featuring a 120mm smoothbore cannon designed to increase the Rooikat's firepower, although it did not enter production. Rooikat command and support vehicles configured for command and control roles with enhanced communication suites and reduced armament. Operational use and legacy. The Rooikat, despite being developed for a conflict that had concluded by the time it entered service, found a place in the SANDF as a reliable and versatile platform. Its emphasis on mobility and adaptability made it a valuable asset in peacekeeping operations, border patrols, and training exercises. The vehicle's design has been continuously upgraded, with improvements to its fire control systems, communications, and drivetrain. Although no longer a frontline anti-tank vehicle, the Rooikat remains a cornerstone of the SANDF's mobile forces. Its versatility, speed, and firepower have also garnered international interest, with the Rooikat being offered for export to several countries, although no major sales have materialized. Conclusion. The Rooikat's history is a reflection of South Africa's unique geopolitical and military needs during the latter half of the 20th century. Designed for high-speed operations in harsh terrain and against diverse threats, it represents a blend of innovative engineering and strategic adaptation. While it was initially conceived as a means to counter conventional armored threats during the Bush War, the Rooikat's post-Cold War role has evolved, ensuring that it remains relevant in a rapidly changing military landscape.